topic, which centers around emigration and its positive sides or positive effect on the Nigeria's economy, or like we popularly know it as JAPA. Do you think if Nigeria enacts an immigration policy that funnels its best talents to the developed country to get exposure, earn more income, grow professionally while sending home remittances, will help kickstart the long-term goal of grooming policy technocrats who are not only well established, but will be committed to national development, owing from the exposure to best practice public service and processes. Away from that, do you also think this should become an international strategy, seeing the going on in Nigeria today? Interestingly, young and middle-aged Nigerians, particularly our professional talents, are limited in the scope of what they do. I mean, this could be through education, professional work, exchange, or direct employment for Nigerian employees who are skilled and well exposed. Now, today, NIGAC is hosting its policy dialogue series with its thematic areas, which is focused on discussing immigration in Nigeria. The policy dialogue takes place right now. Confirmed guests with us today is Chief Dele Momodu, who is here with us. Also, we have some policy fellows who will be joining, which includes policy fellow Joel Osakwe and Oluwa Enitan Sophie. Briefly, I'll take the citations shortly. Chief Dele Momodu is a renowned philanthropist who was born in Ilesha, Osun State, Nigeria on May 16, 1960. He holds a degree in Yoruba and a master's degree in English literature, which he obtained in 1988 at the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University. He lectured at the State College of Arts and Science in Ile-Ife between 1982 and 1983. He has worked exceptionally well in different positions, a quintessence of many personalities, and was instrumental to the fight against injustice and struggle for peace in the 80s and 90s. I mean, he's still on to the fight till date. He was unjustly detained during the Ibrahim Babangida regime for being part of the Moshood Abiola presidential campaign and was released on bail after 6 weeks of detention. Dele was also accused of trying to overthrow the Abacha regime, therefore was declared wanted. He was exiled for 3 years and stayed in the United Kingdom. He established Emigration International in 1996 during his exile in London, United Kingdom. The magazine was vetted with the intention of showcasing African culture to promote Africa as a tourist center and correct the negative views the world has about Africa. Chief Dele Momodu has received hundreds of awards and honors for his work in the world of business, politics, literature, the music industry, and the fashion industry, amongst a host of others. He writes a weekly column called Pendulum, published every Saturday on the back page of this day newspaper. The articles are lauded for highlighting issues in Nigeria as well as discussing popular topics, current events, and notable people, often in critical style. Up next, I'll be talking about Oluwa Enitan Sophie, a youth champion for the SDG Sustainable Development Goals with special interest in goal number 1, 3, 5, 10, and 17. She's an astute volunteer with over a decade experience with non-profit organizations focused on providing assistance for the needy, especially in areas of youth development, peer education, mentoring vulnerable children, girls, and peoples with disability. A Google and Lagos Business School certified digital business manager. Enitan is a graduate of English with special interest in literature. She is also passionate about adolescent reproductive health and gender rights. Up next, I'll be talking about Dr. Joel Osakwe, who is a non-resident policy fellow of the Nigerian Global Affairs Council and also serves as a healthcare dentist at Batuna Dental Clinic in Botswana. And my humble self, Abraham John Onoja, a policy fellow and director of public relations for the Nigerian Global Affairs Council. Briefly on NIGAC before we quickly take Anything and Dr. Joel. The Nigerian Global Affairs Council is a technology-based and digital media-driven public policy and evidence-based research think tank focused on policy concerns that revolve around governance and public administration within Nigeria. While Anytime is getting ready briefly, and Dr. Joel, I would like to say that please, we should feel free to drop our comments in the chat box area. We will direct it to our guests. And then up next, we will go into the discussion proper today as I welcome Anytime to quickly run us through what we have today before we take His Excellency Chief Dele Momodu. Anytime, are you with me?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Anytime. So good to have you. Can you please check your microphone, please? Thank you very much. Okay, so I can't hear you.
Okay, so I have to mute.
The noise at the background isn't helping at all. I still can't hear you there.
Maybe I have to leave and come back.
Okay, I don't know if maybe the microphone is. Are you using two different devices? Okay. Anytime, if you're ready, please, let's quickly take you. We have our guest who is with us already. And I mean, considering his very busy and tight schedule, we wouldn't want to stay longer than our time. Anytime, are you there?
Yes,
Anytime, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Oh, good afternoon. I think it's better now.
Yes, well, my video will not be showing. Okay, well, that works.
Okay, let's just quickly take you for a few minutes, please. You can go ahead. Okay, if you're not ready, we'll quickly take Dr. Joel Osakwe. Doctor, are you with us, please? Dr. Joel, are you with us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Oh, thank you so much. So good to have you join us today. You have the floor, please, for a few minutes, please. Oh, thank you very much, Doctor.
Right,
I can see you now. Yes, good afternoon,
okay,
Doctor.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, please. Good afternoon.
Dr. Joel Osakwe, reporting from Botswana.
Thank you so much for joining us from Botswana.
Thank you. It's JAPA as a national policy. Well, in Nigerian parlance, JAPA, I guess, means the idea of migration or emigration from one's country in search of greener pastures in some other lands. Quickly, in 2006, the then UN Secretary General, Kofi Annan, made a speech at the floor of the United Nations in which he said that there needs to be recognition and more attention needs to be paid to the plight of migrants and also recognition of their contributions to the world economy. As a result of that, in 2015, the federal government came up with the national policy of migration, which addressed a lot of other things, plight of migrants, human trafficking, all that, which I think my colleague is going to say something about. But specifically on the topic of JAPA itself, as a policy of state, there is a lot of benefit to that. against the backdrop that currently Nigeria is facing what many will agree to be a crisis of low inflow of dollars, foreign currency. So this has led the CBN clamping down on a lot of avenues through which dollars is leaving the shores of the country because they want to severely control that whole process. But we also know that in the past couple of years, remittances from diaspora citizens of the country who are in the diaspora, is in excess of $25 billion annually. But with COVID-19 and the hit that many economies have taken, there's been a drastic fall in that inflow of dollars. So currently, Nigeria is facing a crisis in which there is a shortage of petrodollars. There's not much manufacturing going on, and there is a drastic reduction in diaspora remittances, right? So what can a country such as Nigeria do? I think that a country such as Nigeria should consciously, with effort, and with religious zeal, formulate a national policy in which citizens are encouraged to legally and gracefully migrate to other shores, not just for the purpose of their own end, but for the purpose of increase in remittances. Okay? Quickly, we can take the example of a number of countries, but a country that comes to my mind just now is a country such as the Philippines. If you look at a country such as the Philippines, data shows that not less than 1 million Filipinos leave the shores of the country to other lands in search of labor. And this is not something that just happens on its own. There is a conscious effort by government to make sure that migration governance is mainstreamed in the policy formulation and the framework and the structures of government and the levels of government within the Filipino society. There are agencies that control this. There are agencies that monitor this, right? So what they do is not just the issuance of passport for those who want to travel, but lots of migrant support services and their employers. There's adjudication framework or bodies that take care of that. And it might surprise you to know that the government of Philippines has overseas Filipino workforce offices in 38 locations around the world, right? So this is something that I think that the Nigerian government can pursue. We are aware that there's such a thing called NIDO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, but their work is essentially not to help the migrants to travel, but to maybe have meetings where they rub minds together, talk about investment back home, and that those sort of a thing. In the Philippines, a lot of tertiary institutions in the vocations like these OND, technical schools and all that, government needs to consciously ensure that those qualifications are at par with maybe qualifications in countries such as Australia, New Zealand, Canada, where you would see that as part of their immigration policies, they would be looking for bakers, hairdressers, phlebotomists. These are the kind of things that you wouldn't find in maybe people being trained for in the Nigerian institutions. But even medical doctors, when they travel to those shores and they see that they can't work readily with their qualifications, they do a short program and then they are able to integrate into the labor force, right? Common qualifications framework is something
Doctor,
that,
can you please try to wrap up now?
Okay. So common qualification frameworks is something in which the government can use as a tool to streamline, legalize, safeguard the graceful and legal migrations of his people for the purpose of remittances. Now, we know that remittances can take any form: altruism, payment for obligations, investments, those sort of things. Government can make sure that the access to remittance services, government clamping down on things like cow rice, trove, and a lot of fintech platforms through which Nigerian diaspora used to remit funds back home. Now, it's so difficult for me to send money back home because the access to the channels of remittances are streamlined. It makes it difficult, right? Before I send money back home, I have to think and work hard on those things. So channels or access to remittance services needs to be looked at. Secondly, cost of remittances. In the Philippines that I mentioned, for example, the cost of remittance back to the Philippines is less than 3% on any platform you choose. In fact, you can actually walk to an embassy of the of the Philippines and say you want to remit some funds back home, and they will.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
And benefit our country as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. I entirely note everything you're saying, and then I'm talking about the channels and cost of remittances. Thank you very much. Anytime, can you hear me, please? If you're with me, you have 5 minutes, please, to quickly talk to us, please. Anytime, are you there?
Okay. Okay.
Your line is still breaking, Anytime. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You have 5 minutes. Yes, please. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, good afternoon. Yes.
Good afternoon, Anytime. Thank you so much for joining us.
I say, but I talk about how Nigerians do not have access to, and it's very important for us to work out and be our brothers. A lot of Nigerians like to go through the shortcuts because a lot of Nigerians do not like to do the right things. Many of us fall into so many wrong things. I'd like to share a story of 19 December. I just attended ICASA, that's International Conference on AIDS and STI in Africa. I was coming back from Kigali. I met two young ladies. I'd like to call one Shade Bola. I come back from the conference with a lot of bags as usual, and then I had to just go with, I was struggling with one, and Addis Ababa was where we met. And I saw these young ladies, they were speaking in Yoruba, they were just walking. I had like extra bags, and one of them just approached me because I'd heard them speaking Yoruba. Guess what? They had been trapped in Egypt for like 2 months because they had emigrated illegally. They had gotten into that country with fake visas, and they were held down there till they were able to get money for their return tickets. In my head, when I got into conversations with them and I was speaking with them, and I found out they had spent close to 700,000. And I was thinking way back, oh shit. Can you, Abraham, can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Okay, so in my head, I was trying to look at young girls who are coming from Lagos, Nigeria. One was from Osun State, trying to gather something as much as 700,000 to emigrate illegally, and they were now caught in that. Look at that kind of amount, and just let's think of the kind of business that could have helped them, what they could have gained locally. But because most of us, we not only lack access to information, we are very secretive about things, and the next Nigerian is trying to dupe the other party. So I think it's very important that everybody has access to information. The government also helps us in getting this information and making things easier for the average Nigerian. I mean, look at the way our doctors are all moving out now because people are not getting access to. For instance, I use LUTs. I manage glaucoma and then endometriosis, and I can tell you the challenge I face. Most times I go there, I see that sometimes it's not really the problem of these doctors, but because they do not even have things to work with, and you're trying to imagine out-of-pocket system, and you still cannot get the services you need. So I think for most part of it, most Nigerians, we need to get access to information, find out where you're going to, find out because emigrating might not really be as expensive as most of us think it is, but because we do not do the right things, and then we get into wrong hands. And it's so important that the government assists people. From time to time, just like we have rural urban migration, people will definitely want to go in search of greener pastures and all that. But what are the things we can do to make it easier for people? What are the things we can do to, maybe if we know people want to go for whatever reasons, how can we help them, connect them to services? These are things that I think that the average Nigerian needs. Dr. Joe has talked about registration and how people can follow up on things. Data is a problem. Data is a very big problem in this country. We might need to look at data.
Thank you very, very much, Anytan. Anytan, can you hear me? Okay, thank you very, very much. I think that will be all we can take from that point. Thank you so much, Dr. Joel and Oluwa, Anytan, Sophie, for that very fantastic opener. Up next, we'll be taking Chief Dele Momodu, who is a renowned Nigerian philanthropist, journalist, politician, and CEO of Ovation International, one of Africa's most popular celebrity magazines, having bilingual inclinations printed in both English and French. His Excellency will be talking to us today on emigration and its positive effect on the Nigerian economy. Your Excellency, sir, over to you, please. We can't hear you, sir. You're on mute. Okay, thank you. We can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Noja, for inviting me on this national policy dialogue. The issues of immigration or whatever you want to call it is one that has always interested me, because almost on daily basis, I receive calls from people who will tell me, oh, I want you to help me. I want to travel. I am tired of Nigeria. I know if I can just get abroad, all my problems will be solved. I'll be able to take care of my mother, my father, my sisters, my siblings, my cousins. And I've always tried to discourage them, and it never worked. As a matter of fact, my wife has warned me to stop discouraging people from traveling, because what they are going to say is that, boy, you traveled, so why are you telling us not to travel? But the circumstances are different. I didn't travel of my own free volition. I was wanted by the Abacha regime, and so I had to save my life and that of my family, and I managed to escape. It's different from someone I heard when Eniton said someone will spend as much as 700,000 naira just to travel. If you have 700,000 naira in Nigeria, then you have no business traveling. I always tell people, and I will give a few examples that would really shock you. I had a tailor, he actually designed this car. And some years back, my tailor approached me, said, Daddy, I've been wanting to tell you something. I said, yes, please tell me. He said, I would like to travel. I said, Alaji, where are you going? He said, anywhere. He doesn't care anywhere. I said, Alaji, you are doing well in Nigeria. You are making dresses from some of us, and they are paying you good money. He said, no, he will go and be making the dresses abroad. He prefers to make it abroad. To cut a long story short, I got so angry, I stopped him from coming to me. I said, you lack ambition, and I don't want to see you again. After about 1 year, I sent people to me, begged me, came back. You will not believe this guy was still talking about traveling abroad. This time he said, oh, he has gotten a visa to South Africa. I said, South Africa? I said, even the people of South Africa, a lot of them are jobless. So where are you going to be? He said, this one, they promised him, he has someone who is taking him. Anyway, he left Nigeria and went to South Africa. I didn't know when he left, but one day I got a call. I saw a South African number on my phone, and this guy said, I'm Alaji, your tailor, Alaji. I said, Alaji, you're in South Africa? I said, yes, sir. Then he started crying. You want me, oh, you want me, oh. My boss who took me said I should sign an agreement of 2 years to serve him. When we got there, he changed it to 5 years. I said, you are a slave. They turned you to a slave. He said, the thing now is that he wants to run away. He doesn't have anywhere to stay. And I want you to talk to any of your friends to take me so I can stay. I said, I don't have any friend in South Africa who can accommodate you. I told you don't travel. At any rate, do you know the next thing, the sad story? They killed the boy. He died. I think he tried to escape from his boss. I don't know what business they were doing. He died. Then I have another young brother who called me and said, bros, you've never done anything for me in this life. And all I want, I'm tired of Nigeria. I just want to go to America. And now I have a visa to take me to America. So all I need from you is a ticket. So that I will not look like a wicked soul. I had to go and also scrape whatever money I had and then provided the money for the ticket. Okay? The mistake I made was not to ask him to show me the visa. Unknown to me, he bought Genji, what they call Genji's fake visa, in which they told him he had to navigate his way through Cote d'Ivoire. I shouldn't travel directly to America. He should first of all go to Cote d'Ivoire, and then from Cote d'Ivoire, you go to America. So he traveled anyway. And I was expecting him to call me to say, I've arrived in America. Thank you, Egmont. He never did. After some months, one day I saw a strange number. I didn't know it was from Cote d'Ivoire. I saw a strange number. And when I picked, he said, hey, Egmont, I'm calling you from Ivory Coast. He mentioned his name. Okay, what are you doing in Ivory Coast? You told me you go to America. He said those who sold the visa to him told him to go through Cote d'Ivoire. When he got there, they arrested him. He has been in prison since then. So there are so many instances. There is nothing you can tell people not to travel, they will go. For me, the solution is not in discouraging them, because I see there are a lot of organizations, that spring up every now and then and trying to show documentaries, how people suffer. Those people don't see how people suffer. They want to see those who traveled, or those who stole money there, or those who did 419, or those who did drugs and then bought new cars. So what the government needs to do is to set up, like in those good old days, we used to have a very strong and very scholarship board, for example. So if you want to travel abroad and you qualify under the scholarship scheme, the federal government and the state governments can then do like an exam for people who want to travel. And if you qualify, then they can give you scholarships to go abroad. If you look at the Indians, the Chinese, I was on fellowship at Oxford University about 2 years ago, and you see that the whole place is populated by the Indians and the Chinese. It's because there is a deliberate government policy that encourages them to go and seek foreign education. They need to be able to learn how to speak and write good English so that they can be competitive in the world. Nigerians are among the brightest human beings on earth. And it is very easy for most Nigerians to qualify for scholarships abroad because we're naturally endowed. But there is nobody to put them through. There is nobody to encourage them. There is nobody to organize them so that they can travel legally and legitimately. So most of the people who travel out of Nigeria, I met one the other day. He used to work, in an hotel where I used to stay. And I met him at the airport. Where are you going? He said, Kenya. I said, what's happening in Kenya? He said, he doesn't know. So why are you going to Kenya? He said, he's just going. So people carry their bags and they just go. They go on the Mediterranean Sea. They go on the Atlantic. They are ready to do anything. Some even hide themselves inside the wings of aeroplanes and they die. They freeze to death before they get to where they are going. So government will do something. I'm happy that the first speaker mentioned the issue of the Filipinos. They have made a kill of their people traveling abroad. All the big people you find, even in Nigeria, you will see their housekeeper are from the Philippines and they work legally, they have their papers. So, and we have people in Nigeria who can do also that, but they are not regulated, and we must help our people so that they can also help our country. I don't know if I still have more time.
Yes, you still have about 5 more minutes, sir.
Fantastic. So,
yes, sir.
In Nigeria, we have so much to export. There is so much that we can export. I look at our movie industry, for example. Everywhere I've been, everybody is talking about Nigerian movies. But when you look at it, you'll see that everybody for himself, God for us all is the policy. They have to on their own to shoot a movie. If you are a musician, you have to struggle to record your music. You release the music. You have to be the marketing officer. So why do we have ministries of information, ministries of culture and tourism, and yet a lot of our youths are not gainfully engaged? So I think the time has come when we should at least try and encourage our government that, look, it is not so difficult. If we cannot create employment and opportunities at home, we can create it outside. And people, trust me, people are looking for Nigerian brain. Even if you look at the presidential level in the United States, when President Joe Biden took power, amongst the people he first announced, you had the Nigerian Deputy Secretary of Treasury, who is from my mom's town in Osun State, Adeyemo. It tells you that we have so many Adeyemos in Nigeria wasting away, and nobody is giving attention to them. And so that is why we're losing all these youths to foreign lands. In the southeast of Nigeria, for example, I've always said it that you can liken the Igbo people to the Chinese, the Japanese, the South Koreans, the Indians, all put together. And why can't we create a Silicon Valley in southeast Nigeria and stop playing politics of ethnicity and religion? You will be amazed. I've seen guys in the last 2-3 weeks who are producing their own cars, they are producing their own drones, and they are doing so much in Igbo land. But there is no encouragement from anywhere for these little kids. So if tomorrow they can't do anything at home, naturally they will want to try everything to go abroad. And when they go abroad, you cannot guarantee that they will come back alive. That's all I'll say for now. If there are questions, then I'll take.
Beautiful. Thank you very, very much, sir, for this very amazing insights there. Let me quickly go to the comment section. Adeni Sanusi is saying Nigeria is blessed with enormous manpower, particularly the youth population. If we target that population and train them purposely to be skilled in the maritime sector, we can do more than Philippines is doing in exporting maritime manpower. We need to specifically narrow down on the production of skilled maritime manpower for the local industry and export as one of our focal points or most important projects. Also, Adeni Sanusi is also saying that's the cross of the matter when it comes to emigration. We need to deliberately democratize information in this regard. Emmanuel is saying, at Dr. Joel Osakwe, well done for your insightful comment. Empirically, remittances has impacted economic growth. However, we need to question the end use of remittance, particularly in developing countries like Nigeria. Scholars have argued that if remittances are channeled into productive sectors like small-scale businesses, but most remittances are geared towards asset accumulation. What is your view? So, Dr. Joel, you have a question there. What is your view as to because most of these things are put into accumulation of assets, not into production or productive sectors or productive areas, basically. Doctor, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What would be your comment on this, sir? You have
I responded briefly in the chat to the person who asked the question. I said I agree. But you see, on the issue of remittances, sorry, just a minute, please. Sorry, just a minute, please. Okay. Okay, on the issue of remittances, you know, the reason, let me use my experience as an example. If I want to build a house in Benin, I'll be afraid that the plot has been sold to 3 other persons previously. So I hold back. You understand? I want to set up a farm. I need to settle the Nogie. I need to settle the youth, the area boys. I need to pay this and pay that and do that and all that. So it limits me. Remittances are not just coming back home for the purpose of, oh, I want to build a big house. I can tell you that there are many, many persons in the diaspora who have brilliant ideas to set up small-scale industries and all that, but there are certain constraints back home that keeps them away. So I agree with that yes, some of these remittances, for it to be of economic value, it needs to be channeled towards industry, economic activities and all that. But from the government end, there needs to be a regulation or a way in which these hindrances are removed. Currently in Edo State, the Edo State government just passed a law restricting this, criminalizing the sale of lands, or non-state actors collecting development fees, community fees from people who want to invest in the community. So I agree. Remittances should be channeled towards development efforts.
Thank you very much.
Industry, commerce, those sort of.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Chief, sir.
Yes,
Doctor just said something where he talked about the local factors that hinder development and all of that, which are basically part of reasons why a lot of people are looking at relocating from Nigeria or wanting to travel. By all means, part of them, we're looking at government policies, we're looking at the economic downturn of things, we're looking at insecurity. People, lives and properties are no longer safe or secured within Nigeria. What would be your comment in that regard, sir? What do you advise or what do you suggest, sir?
You see, my suggestion always is that no nation or country is perfect. I tell a lot of my young friends who get to listen that I today can afford to live anywhere in the world permanently outside Nigeria, but I will still prefer to live in Nigeria. Oh, they say it's because you have made it. No, nobody made it overnight. I lost my father at the age of 13 in 1973. My mom did not have any education. We couldn't afford to pay rent, and we became squatters. We had to go and squat with our cousins in Mudakeke. So it's not as if everything was rosy. I was an errand boy at a bookshop in Ilefe, CSS bookshops. Later, I was a village teacher. I was a library attendant. I did this and that to keep body and soul together. If anybody can raise 500,000 naira in Nigeria today, you are a big man. And I believe traveling should be your second option. However, I will agree that you can travel if you have a legitimate reason to do so. You are going to school, you won a scholarship, or you have saved enough money to take you abroad. It's more difficult these days. With fingerprinting, any little offense, even something as small as traffic offense, will be arrested and will be deported home. Almost every time I travel from England to Nigeria, I find people being deported. So what is the essence of saving all that money? You travel abroad and you are going to be changed down like an animal while you are being deported back to Nigeria. So for me, yes, there are reasons why people want to travel, but it should be your last option, especially if you don't have your valid papers. These days, it's almost impossible for you to get a job, almost impossible. And I've been on a television program before called the Entrepreneur Series, where you bring your papers, you come and do a presentation about your business ideas, and we will give you, allocate money if you are able to pass. You will not believe it. For as little as 100,000 naira, some people have become very rich in Nigeria. For as little, a lady wrote to me once that I should please give her 5,000. Hey, Big Daddy, please change my life. And I asked her, how can I change your life when I've not changed my own? And she said, I need your 5,000 naira to start Akara business. She wants to be frying bean cakes. You know, I put 10,000 naira. Within a few months, she wrote back to me saying, Big Daddy, you have changed my life. I'm now worth over 50,000 naira. And I found a man who wants to marry me. So Nigeria, if you are original, I tell people, originality would help people. there is something out there that some people need that you can provide. Once you can think of something original that you can provide, you will make your own. And Nigeria, with our huge population, we're not even making use of it at all. Then vocational studies is one area that I believe our government has been lacking. Because not everybody should go to a university and study psychology, study philosophy, such that when you graduate, you have no job. But if you go to a technical school to learn carpentry, to learn, plumbing and all that, you will always find a job and you'll be good. Look, when we are doing POP of houses in Nigeria, we have to bring some of them from Togo, some of them from Cotonou, some of them from Ghana. Why? Because we realize that a lot of the ones in Nigeria are not qualified. So even when you have jobs, some of them are not employable. This is a real fact. So traveling is not the issue. When you make money here, no matter the business you are doing, trust me, you will get a visa. At least you can't go anywhere, you go to Dubai. You can start from there. It's very easy for you to go to Dubai, places like that. But some people have just made up their minds that they want to go to Europe or America because the impression they are made to left give them that, yes, I'm not a big man. I have a new car. I have a new home. They don't know that everything is basic. What we call credit system. Without the credit system, an average person traveling abroad will not survive. It's credit. The house where you live is on credit. The car you drive is on credit. Everything they give you credit card. So it gives you this false sense of importance that everything is basic. Whereas in Nigeria, your mates that you left back home, they are going to build houses, cash. They are going to buy vehicles, cash. Whereas when you are abroad, you cannot do those things. Thank you, Mr. Noja.
Thank you very much, Chief, sir. Let me quickly run through some comments in the chat box. Dr. Joel is saying that if Nigeria runs on justice, every citizen is equal, there is rule of law. Omoniles don't sell one plot to 50 persons, etc. Thank you very much, Dr. Adini Sanusi is saying some of these stories need to be told, good, bad, or even ugly, so that other Nigerians, seeming youths, can glean from the highlights of lessons learned and share migration tips and best practices for young Nigerians. Thank you very much. He's also talking about resourcing experts, skilled immigrants abroad can be a significant resource, especially if ongoing contract between academic and private sector institutions is fostered. Thank you very, very much. Also from NIGAC, we're saying, please let the fellows have a parting word, sir. Anytime said she would love to say something. Okay, thank you very, very much. So Sanusi is also saying countries like Canada and Australia are popular because of their skilled migrant programs, offering express entry. Nigeria also accounted for over 25% of non-immigrant visas to the US in 2018. That's a lot. Ayo Pachico is saying, sir, the Minister of Labor recently said he wasn't bothered about the massive brain drain going on in the country. What can we do as youth when we see our leaders don't care about human development? Chief, would you like to comment on this, sir? Ayo Pachico is saying, sir, the Minister of Labor recently said he wasn't bothered about the massive brain drain going on in the country. I mean,
Dr. Chris Zindige is a big brother. Mine is someone that I find very humorous. His sense of humor sometimes can get too much. So I think the problem is that he can joke too much. So maybe he was kidding. There is no way any public officer would say he doesn't care about people leaving their country in droves. I haven't seen him with them, but whenever I meet him, I would like to ask him to know if he was just in that his moment of comedy. You know, it's a comedy of errors.
Okay.
To be quite frank with you. So I believe it should worry every country. I read one of the comments And what I want to say is that I want to answer what I said earlier on. One of the problems we have in Nigeria is that we don't have a credit system. There is no developed country in the world where there is no credit system, where everything is cash and carry. So there is so much pressure on Nigerians because there is no credit facility. In Ghana, next door to us, in Ghana, you'll be surprised that a lot of young graduates, once you have a valid appointment letter, you walk in a place and your office can sign as guarantor. You can get a car loan, you can get a loan to equip your home. That's all that is needed. We must begin to think like reasonable human beings. We make everything so difficult for our youth, and then they lose that sense of direction. And we can't blame them when they kick and get violent. You know, the credit system is something, and I've discussed it with so many bankers. Oh, they will tell you we don't have a database, we don't have this, but now you have it. You have BVN, you have everything. You can do credit rating, you can do the, so the time has come, and I think the central bank in particular should intervene and make sure, the central bank should intervene and make sure that we can begin to have a credit system. It will really help a lot of our youth when they know they can quickly take a loan, set up a business. I'm telling you, for as little as 50,000, 100,000 naira, people can set up businesses and they will be able to employ others as well. Because it's not possible for government to employ everybody. So all the people who are going carrying certificates up and down looking for a job, they have no hope, but they can set up something. Even if you are going to fry plantain chips or whatever, you will make money. If you are selling, cold water on the roads, you will make money. We have the population, and we have the purchasing power, to be able to do good business in our country.
Thank you very much, sir. So Nigak is asking, hello, sir, what will you suggest as a policy design draft to encourage talented and experienced professionals in Nigeria to make emigration seamless beyond just education? We have a lot of skilled and exposed Nigerians here, but while talent is universal, opportunity is not for most talented Nigerians. What do you say to helping skilled and talented professionals for Chief Momodu?
Well, it's still the same old story. There is nothing new. You see, government is not living up to its responsibility. The only time you hear government in Nigeria is when elections are coming. Then they will come make all kinds of highfalutin and grandiloquent promises, which they know they have no intention of keeping or fulfilling. So the young people themselves, and they occupy 60 to 70% of our population, fortunately and unfortunately. Fortunately, because that's power out there. I always tell people that the Floaters Party is the biggest party in Nigeria, not APC, not PDP. But the Floaters Party have not found it necessary to use their numerical strength in bringing about a positive change in our country. Everywhere else, when people have suffered to the level we have suffered in Nigeria, it's incredible. They will still go and vote the same way. They will still argue. If Dele Momodu says, I want to contest now, they will say, oh, what experience have we got? The only experience I haven't got is the experience of still
doesn't have structure
to oppress you. So for every other experience, I have more than any minister, more than most governors. That's the truth. I've been able to manage my own business successfully for 25 years. Yeah. So, and I recommend that next time when anybody comes to you to say vote for me, ask them what they have done for themselves. There's a Yoruba saying, the person who is going to clothe you, you look at what he is wearing. So the people who want to lead you, a man who has never managed 1 million of his own, you now give him a 3 or 10 trillion naira economy. Of course, he's going to run mental. That's why they lose their brains. The moment they get power, you can no longer recognize people you used to know because they've never done anything, they've never accomplished anything in their private capacity. So it is still about governance. If you do not have the right people in government, then forget it. We will just continue to lament like Jeremiah, the biblical Jeremiah, and that is not the solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Quickly also to the comment section, Adeni Sanusi saying retention through economic development, giving people a reason to stay, is doubtless the most effective policy is reducing emigration and the surest long-term means of boosting average human capital development as well as economic growth. Oluwa Olajimi Akinsiku is saying, thank you very much, Dr. Dele, Miss Enitan, and Dr. Joel. It's important for legitimate policies to engage youth. For example, I'm currently a graduate student here in George Washington University with a focus on sustainable tourism management. In my department, we have so much Indonesians on scholarship by their government with a focus on developing their major source of revenue. However, this initiative of creating remittance, my concern is achieving results. As we may know, the current development ecosystem is yet to find a best practice approach for sustainability purposes. Nigak is also asking another for Chief, what ideas or framework will you suggest for the diaspora community that can help for industrial development via small investments that come as monthly contributions to a diaspora small business investment fund? Chief, that will be for you, sir.
Well, again, it's not always as simple as most people think. People think if you're abroad, then you are able to help them. That's why there is so much pressure on those who live abroad. I've told you, most of the things that you see them do, they are based on credit. So if you are expecting that they will form an organization or a cooperative where they will gather resources, gather all the money, even their own money that they send back home for people to help them buy land, buy houses and everything, the money simply disappear because some 419 people are waiting for them. They believe, oh, don't worry, we'll make another money. Let me spend this one. So it's not going to be as simple as that. I think it must begin with our government. If the government is serious, it will be easy for the diasporans to also say we want to assist. Look, on Instagram or social media, every now and then people come to me and say, please help me and all that. You won't believe it. These days I find it difficult to do so because I've seen a situation where somebody I saw on social media told me, I lost my husband is a soldier and they killed him and they left me with kids crying, sent pictures, and I sent 100,000. And thereafter I called to find out, how are you doing? Is everything okay now? And they stopped picking my call. Then I realized that I've been scammed. That's it. That's another dimension. So you can't live abroad and be sending money to some phantom ghosts in Nigeria. So government must still be able to regulate things. Seek ye first a good government, and every other thing shall be added onto it. That is my belief. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. So I picked this one off social media. So recently, I think a lot of social media was awash with the news of UAE granting visa-free access to Ghana amongst a host of other countries to be able to access UAE free, with visa-free and all of that. And then we had to do a bit of research to find out that why was Nigeria not also accorded same status? And then we realized that apparently a lot of the robbery that happened over there or abroad are predominantly Nigerians. Drug trafficking, Nigerians. Prostitution, Nigerians. Amongst all sorts of illegalities going on abroad are predominantly Nigerians that perpetrate most of these atrocities and all of that. So in closing, Chief and Doctor and Enitan, what would be your final comments on this particular discussion today, which is focused on immigration and its positive effects on the Nigerian economy? Chief, can we take you, sir? What would be your final words of closing to everyone on this?
I think Nigeria is a victim of misperception. Nigeria is not synonymous with fraud, with drugs, with 419. I am sure, and I don't want to disparage any country, but I am sure there are many European countries, there are many Asian countries, even all the drugs whatever they bring to Nigeria, they are not manufactured in Nigeria. They come from Asia. Most of them come from Asia and Latin America. So, but when people are going to talk, they say, oh, Nigeria is a nation of drug barons. It's not true. So, but our government has failed. Instead of spending their resources on building a positive image for Nigeria, they are busy pursuing their critics. You understand? They are ready to set fire to a village in order to catch a few rats. I am telling you, when I got to Ghana over 20 years ago, the impression in Ghana was that all Nigerians were fraudsters. But when Ovation started publishing positive stories about the Adenugas, the Dangotes, the Absamad, the Otedolas, the Lumelus, the Jim Ovias, and all of them, things changed. There was not a single Nigerian bank in Ghana. Today, we have about 7 or 8 Nigerian banks in Ghana, and they are doing great things. Today, Nigerians are among the richest people in the world, and their sources of income are known to everybody. Unfortunately, if all people hear about you every day is that you are stealing, and the government does not counter it, I tell people, even on a personal note, when people write negative stories about me, I respond. People sometimes tell me, oh, why do you bother? I bother because Google is going to capture it. If I'm going to do business anywhere, whether at home or abroad, the first thing people are going to check is my name on Google. And when they check it, and they see that everything about you is negative, who is going to do business with you? So if I can invest in myself, despite the fact that I'm a PR person myself, so why can't government invest in Nigeria and on Nigeria and make sure that the world gets the positive stories about us? But today, fight for Shoyinka, your biggest man in literature. Tomorrow, you are going to say, because somebody criticized Buhari, Twitter, you are going to kill Twitter, you are going to stop Twitter. These are all the negative stories that people here abroad about Nigeria. And they think we belong to the Stone Age. They believe we belong in antiquity. So this is the problem of Nigeria. Nigeria must work on itself. Okay? When you do that, you will see that a lot of these things will change. There is nothing that we are doing in Nigeria that is not happening in Ghana or anywhere else. Don't forget that the population of Ghana is about maybe the 1/6 of that of Nigeria. So if 10 people still in Ghana, and then you multiply that by 6, so 60 people still in Nigeria. Of course, we have more thieves in Nigeria than in Ghana. So it's a simple arithmetic. That is why it seems Nigeria is so bad. It's also the effect of our population. We're huge. In a population of 200 million people, if 1,000 armed robbers are caught in Dubai, compared to our population, what percentage is that? But it sounds so big. Negligible. So, but we've neglected our country. We don't seem to care. And so we suffer for it. Everybody suffers for it. Once you bring out that green passport, you will know that people will be looking at you suspiciously. May the good Lord help us. And may the good Lord grant us the wisdom to know that heavens help those who help themselves. Nigerians help themselves. I said it last week. If Nigerians see their desire today, they will never recognize it. Everybody you mentioned on social media, I posted something about Shibajo a few days ago. Hey, we don't want him. Then if you post another person, hey, we don't want. So who do you want? How do you arrive at that consensus? I don't know. It's very frustrating. But I pray that a miracle, because now we're in the realm of miracle. Sad. Yeah.
That's true, sir.
Have a nice afternoon, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that fantastic.
I've been raising my hand. Moderator, I've been raising my hand.
You're next, Doctor. Over to you. Your final word.
Yes.
Briefly,
please. I know the council will do this, but I want to just from the bottom of my heart thank Chief Dele Momodu for being our guest speaker. Thank you so much again from you. Seek ye first good governance, and all other things will be added onto you. That's my takeaway. But the reason why I was raising my hand and my final word is that if for every 100 person who wants to travel out of Nigeria, 95 of them do not know the difference between a visa and a residence or a work permit. That you have given an agent 1 million naira to secure you a visa is not an invitation by your host country to come and stay. It's an invitation to come and see and go back home. If you don't go back home after your visa, you become an illegal alien. That's where many people are deported. And I find this even amongst professionals. Just this week on Thursday, a colleague in Nigeria sent me, the story. How can you help me? I need to leave this place. I sent a link of a job interview. Part of the requirement was that put your cover letter. A medical doctor, a resident in training did not know what a cover letter was. I said, Google it.
Wow.
So preparation is key, it's everything. And like Chief has repeatedly advised, you can do so many things in the country. You don't have to go to another man's country and become a second-rate citizen or an illegal to be deported or to face the shame of deportation. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Sir. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
Anything over to you, please. Your closing remarks, your final words.
Okay, thank you so much for having me here, and thank you so much, Chief, for the insightful remarks you gave us on here. So for me, I just want to say that a couple of people have reached out to me saying that why are we focusing on the negatives? Why are we talking more about the negative? And I'm happy that Chief said so much, and I know that he has more experiences than us. I was able to share one or two from my experience when I went to Kigali and to Kenya. But what I just want to say is that there are numerous opportunities out there, just like the opportunities in Nigeria. How you tap into those opportunities, all that matters. When you leave this country, you are not going there to sleep. There is no money on the streets of America. There's no money on the streets of Europe. The American dream that we know can be the Nigerian dream. And like Chief has said, the kind of government we get, seek you first a good government, then every other thing will be added onto you. I am saying to us, look at what happened in Lagos, the last local government elections. We have said that a couple of times at NIGAC. How many people are taking charge? How many of us are coming out to cast our vote? How many of us are monitoring the process? It's so sad. So many of us are nonchalant about this. And these are the things that will give us good policies. The government are changing so many policies that affect us directly or indirectly. So we really need to empower the people we are given the chance to rule us, because they will determine a lot of things for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
Chief, thank you so much for joining us today. It's an honor hosting you on the Nigerian Global Affairs Council.
Yes.
Doctor, thank you so much. Anytime, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll just make two more comments from the comment section before we close this. One was a recap from what Chief said. He said, seek you first a good government, and every other thing shall be added into you. Chief Dele Momodu. Next, Olua Olujimi is saying, Dr. Dele, you are right. I agree to stress the issue of governance and the need for collaboration with the educational institutions to create research-focused solutions to all trends that can aid economic development, just like Singapore did. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the Nigerian Global Affairs Council.
Somebody has a question. Somebody has a question, sir. Adeni Sanusi.
Okay, Adeni Sanusi, in 30 seconds, please, can you ask your question as we prepare to close, to round up, please? 30 seconds.
Yes, thank you very much, moderator, and thank you very much, Chief Dele Momodu. I've always followed your story. You have you have so many sons that you may not be aware of. So thank you so much. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to yes, sir. I just want to say that this is an amazing program. I really don't have a question, but I've been enjoying every bit of the program. That's why you see me pushing out things. I think we need to democratize knowledge. Knowledge needs to be out there in the streets. Of course, I understand that some Nigerians they don't care about knowledge. They just want to get results, and it doesn't happen like that. So thank you so much for organizing such an amazing program. And it looked like it just resembles the kind of program that we are also working on, which is the NGO Diaspora Project 4040, where people share their story, and then whether good, bad, or ugly, the lessons learned from the story will be shared across, and the Nigerians will learn from the lessons. Because some people, until they hear that somebody has failed, until they hear that somebody has died, just like Chief Dede Momodu has mentioned, they don't want to hear it. They will say their own will be different. The God that they serve is a God of miracle. It's the God of miracle. Miracle will happen in their life. They will say they reject it. So when they hear real stories of real people, maybe they will learn from it. That's what the Diaspora Project is about. So we are encouraging diasporans to share their story so that people can learn from it. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you very much for that.
That was a very good summary of it. That was a good summary.
Honestly, it was. Thank you very much, everyone. Lastly, briefly, this is NIGAC, the Nigerian Global Affairs Council, which is a technology-based and digital media-driven public policy and evidence-based research think tank focused on policy concerns that revolve around governance and public administration within the Nigerian state and how we interact with the larger world. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an amazing session today with our guest, our speaker, who, despite his very busy schedule, made out time to join us today. Thank you so much, everyone. And we look forward to another amazing session with you next month. For now, we say thank you so much from NIGAC. And in closing, we take the national anthem once again. Thank you so much, everyone.